Number 1.
Please listen carefully. In this question, you will be asked to give your opinion about a familiar topic. After you hear the question, you will have 15 seconds to prepare your response and 45 seconds to speak.
Some college students choose to take courses in a variety of subject areas in order to get a broad education. Others choose to focus on a single subject area in order to have a deeper understanding of that area. Which approach to course selection do you think is better for students, and why?
You may begin to prepare your response after the beep. Please begin speaking after the beep.
Number 2.
Please listen carefully. In this question, you will read a short passage about a campus situation and then listen to a conversation on the same topic. You will then answer a question using information from both the reading passage and the conversation. After you hear the question, you will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak.
Read a student letter from the campus newspaper. You will have 45 seconds to read the letter. Begin reading now. Now listen to two students discussing the letter.
What do you think?
I don't think we need to change anything.
You don't think she's right that it would be easier?
Well, I just don't think it's that difficult now. I mean, the library has a really good computer system where you can easily see what they have in their collection, see what's available and what's not.
Yeah, you can always look through the titles on the library computers.
Right, and you don't even have to have an exact title in mind. You can just look for certain types of movies or movies with certain actors or whatever.
Good point.
And as far as what she said about the staff, the people who do that work are students who really need the money to pay for books and stuff.
True.
Plus, I'm sure those students don't get paid that much to do the work, so I don't think it's going to put any strain on the university's budget.
The man expresses his opinion about the proposal described in the letter. Briefly summarize the proposal, then state his opinion about the proposal, and explain the reasons he gives for holding that opinion.
You may begin to prepare your response after the beep. Please begin speaking after the beep.
Number 3.
Please listen carefully. In this question, you will read a short passage on an academic subject and then listen to part of a lecture on the same topic. You will then answer a question using information from both the reading passage and the lecture. After you hear the question, you will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak.
Now read the passage about the nature of social interaction. You will have 45 seconds to read the passage. Begin reading now. Now listen to part of a talk in a sociology class. The professor is discussing audience effects.
Okay, so we said that the way we interact with others has an impact on our behavior. In fact, there's some interesting research to suggest that in one type of interaction, when we're being observed, specifically when we know we're being watched as we perform some activity, we tend to increase the speed at which we perform that activity. In one study, college students were asked to each put on a pair of shoes with laces they would have to tie. Now, one group of students was told that they would be observed. The second group, however, didn't know they were being observed. The students who were aware that they were being watched actually tied their shoes much faster than the students who thought they were alone. Other studies confirm the same is true even when we're learning new activities. Let's say someone is learning a new task, for example, learning how to type. When they're conscious of being observed, they'll likely begin typing at a much faster rate than they would if they were alone. But, and this is interesting, the study also showed that certain common behavior, things people typically do, like making mistakes when you're learning something new, that behavior pattern will also increase. So in other words, when we're learning to type and we know we're being watched, we'll type faster, but we'll also make more mistakes.
Explain how the examples of tying shoes and learning to type demonstrate the principle of audience effects.
You may begin to prepare your response after the beep. Please begin speaking after the beep.
Number 4.
Please listen carefully. In this question, you will listen to part of a lecture. You will then be asked to summarize important information from the lecture. After you hear the question, you will have 20 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak.
Listen to part of a lecture in a biology class.
Even though it's cold and snow-covered, the Arctic houses many species of animals that manage to survive the harsh conditions there. These Arctic animals have adapted to the extremely cold temperatures primarily because of certain body features that help them to survive in the cold Arctic climate. Let's look at a few of them. For one thing, many Arctic animals have developed a protective covering on their feet. The covering usually consists of fur or feathers, which act as a protective layer between the cold and the animal's skin. Since they spend so much of their time on snowy, icy surfaces, whether they're standing on the ground or swimming in the water, they can easily lose heat through their feet. This is especially true of Arctic birds. A bird like the Arctic snowy owl, for example, has feathers on its body the way other birds do. But unlike most birds, it also has feathers all over its feet. This shields and protects the feet from the icy ground so that very little of the owl's foot actually touches snowy or icy surfaces, which helps its feet to stay warm. Another physical characteristic that some Arctic animals share is having smaller bodies and smaller, shorter body parts. In other words, their bodies are often more compact than other animals, and the parts of their bodies that stick out or protrude, like the legs, ears, or tails, are smaller and shorter. And the result is that there is less body surface exposed to the cold air. A great example is the Arctic wolf. Unlike the larger gray wolves that live in warmer climates, Arctic wolves have relatively small, compact bodies that efficiently retain heat. They also have smaller ears and shorter legs, so they lose less body heat than animals with larger bodies or longer body parts. And in a climate where the temperature is below zero most of the year, that's very important.
Using the examples of the owl and the wolf, explain how two special body features have helped Arctic animals adapt to the cold.
You may begin to prepare your response after the beep. Please begin speaking after the beep.